Hey Internet, welcome back to the Zurn Kickstarter. Today you find me actually in my landlord's kitchen, as it happens. My landlord's headed out of town here in a little bit to go and do some stuff for work in another state, and his wife and kids are going to be coming home later on tonight, and so I am here putting away things in the kitchen, because if there is one thing that is more demoralizing than coming home late at night, it is coming home to a sink full of stuff. So we will be putting a number of things away. Now, as it happens, sitting around washing things gives you a lot of time to think, and so one of the things I was thinking about today is the race selection system in Zurn. Now, the race selection system in Zurn is, I guess it's kind of like a lot of other games in that, the race that you choose is going to affect the skills that you have, okay? And similarly, the race that you choose may limit you in certain options, right? I mean, you can only be so small as a minotaur, but you can only be so large as a pixie, right? A little fairy creature about yay big. So there will be some limitations. Zurn's race system, however, is intentionally designed to be very modular in that you can do quite a bit with every given race, right? So whereas in some game systems, my race may actually limit whether or not I am a magic user, it may limit whether or not I will make a very good magic user, it'll limit what kind of resiliency I have, or things like that. You get that a little bit in Zurn, but not a ton. I.e., your natural innate skill will be affected, but your actual ability to use something, not so much. And so because of that, it's intended to be a very modular system. And of course, raises the question, what kind of races can I play with in Zurn? Right? Zurn is intentionally designed to be a meeting of the mythoses. Now, what do we mean by that? Because you hear about this every now and then on the blog or on the Facebook page. When we talk about a meeting of the mythoses, we're talking about the fact that really all of the different mythoses of the world to some extent converge in Zurn. And so because of that, if you want to play a character that has more of like a Greco-Roman feel, like a centaur or a faun or a satyr or a minotaur or something like that, you can find them in Zurn. Because of that, that can make them a playable race for you to be able to use. But you'll also find that there is some traditional high fantasy in there as well. So if you want to play an elf or an orc or a dwarf or any of the races you would traditionally find in a roleplay game, you'll find those there too. If you want to play with Norse mythology, you want to play as a frost giant, or you want to play as something else, you may find those in there as well. If you like Egyptian mythology, we're beginning to jump into Egyptian mythology. The trick to Egyptian mythology is that a lot of it is really weird, and a lot of it is based around a death cult. Let's just say when you're trying to converge the mythoses together, some things are just not going to fit, right? So we do borrow some things for people who like Anubites. You'll find Anubites in Zurn, okay? But you may not find everything coming from that particular realm. That being said, though, there's some Judaic mythology, there'll be some Hittite mythology, okay? And we're starting to also delve into some Eastern stuff as well as actually borrowing from a couple of anime TV shows. The result is, if a person is thinking of a character, and they envision that character being a certain race, it is very possible for us to find them in Zurn. Now, obviously, in the Warriors of Zurn sourcebook, which is what we're currently kickstarting, you will not find all of the playable races in there. Okay, you'll find a small selection to get us started. As we release more sourcebooks, each sourcebook will add a number of races that are playable races to the game. And we're even tinkering around with... actually, I shouldn't mention that. The design team might get mad at me if I mention that. So never mind. We're going to put that off to the side. Moving on... You get a lot of versatility in regards to the races that you can play with. And what this does for us as game masters is it allows us to make sure the game is more impacting toward our players, because the kind of character that they envision in their mind, the kind of character that they would like to play, they can, at least from a race perspective. And the result is they get more invested in the kind of character that they want to use. Now, let's say that you're a player and you want to use a race that's not in the sourcebook, a Yeti, for example. And you come to the game master and you say, hey, look, I'd like to play with a Yeti. What does it mean if it's not in the book? It simply means that you and your game master are going to have to hash it out in terms of, okay, what are the stats for this creature? What's the race trait going to be? What kinds of limitations would this character potentially have? In which case, we work all of that out together. Okay, now to the game masters in the group, this is going to start looking like an awful lot of work, right? Why should I spend a lot of extra time helping a character build a completely new race that they may discover down the road they may not even like all that much, right? Or may not use all that much? Well, two things. One, absolute worst case scenario, we spend an awful lot of time building something that our players really do like, and they have an awful lot of fun with, which encourages them to actually show up for the game session, right? Which is not so bad, all things considered. Best case scenario, we get to build something unique. right? I mean, we talk about this whole idea of world building, but how often do we actually get a chance to build something new in the world, right? If I'm playing a game, I can create my own mechanic, sure, for something, but I don't actually get to build an awful lot of new content. I'm usually working with something that somebody else passed on to me, because that's how the world works. When you're designing a world, though, that's based around a meeting of the mythoses, what this means is we have a very real chance of actually building something new. And if you share it with us on the blog, or if you share it with us on the forum, or you share it with us via email or stuff like that, who knows? If we like your idea and the design team is like, hey, look, this works, we may include it in a future source book. You could actually leave an imprint on the world around you because you decided as a player, or you decided as a game master, to work together to build something new. And that's pretty cool. Right? I mean, how many chances do we actually get a chance to do that in somebody else's mythic world, right? I'm not going to add to Tolkien's Middle-earth because I know what's in there. Zurn's intentionally built as a place where, no, we're making new discoveries. We're seeing new things. And the result is, and this I think is key, is investment. It causes players all around the globe to feel like they're actually doing something that matters. That is to say that their action has a consequence. And that's a pretty big thing around here. So, now this raises the question for all the GMs out there. How do I build a new race? Because I don't want to build something that's overpowered, but also don't want to build something that's deficient, right? Well, we're going to show you the profile for a centaur. Now, the centaur is one of like the kind of promo races for the game, right? I mean, we use it for the examples all throughout the book. So really, I don't mind showing you this. I think it's fine. The design team may get mad at me. I don't really care. I think we're good. All right, so we're going to go ahead and show you that. So hold on here for just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and grab the source book for you. So this is a centaur. Okay. Centaurs are pretty cool. When we first shot this, we had a video shot of this, and it was so choppy. I decided, you know what? We're just going to take a picture and overlay instead, because I think that works better. And then that way nobody gets sick on me as you guys are watching the video. And I think you guys will appreciate that. So you'll notice that we discuss a little bit of the lore about the centaur for starters, right? So that way you guys have at least an idea of kind of what they're like. It's intended to be very short, mostly because we'll have other books that are specifically designed to fleshing out the background for each particular race. But we also want to give a lot of versatility, right? You know, some people could look at a centaur and a game master could say, oh yeah, these guys are going to be an awful lot like the Western Plains Indians, and so they're all painted up in war paint. Very lightly armored, but they're exceptional huntsmen. That's what they do well. Whereas another guy will say, yeah, well, I'm going to go with more of like a Walden Media style Chronicles of Narnia look at centaurs, and they're going to be heavy armor wearers. They use a lot of shields and spears, and they're designed as kind of charge cap, right? We want to leave that versatility for people so that way you can build the story that you're trying to build and be a little more evocative with your stuff. You'll also notice that we have character abilities, right? How well they do in the stats for strength, finesse, charm, and lore. And we make sure that there are two classes, right? Two different types of builds, each of which will be slightly stronger in a given area to add a little bit more customization to how you want to build your character. And then we have a race trait. Race trait should be relatively small, about a dice for each, for whatever it's giving a bonus in. This is intentionally designed to be small because if it doesn't cater well to the high concept of the player, we don't want them having to give up an awful lot in order to stay true to the high concept of the character they're trying to create. At the same time, though, it should be something that helps to play with the theme of the character, should help to give it a little more versatility in regards to the things that they should just innately be good at. And in this way, it helps to give each race a different feel in regards to gameplay, which is good. We want that. So when you're building, a race, 18 to 20 dice for the maximum number in each stat. We recommend about 5 to 7, maybe 8 dice, as you'll see here with the centaur is the minimum that you need to devote. And make sure that you got 2 different class systems and a race trait that only gives about a dice worth of bonuses. Okay, and that's all it takes in order to build a race. The result is we have a lot of customization options in regards to what our adventurers run into. You're always going to have those races that are not playable races, right? Wolves and bears, for example. Okay, but at the same time, you may have some races that help to give that feel to people, right? For people who like wolves, they like the pack mentality. They like the padded feet, the honed senses, the steeled limbs. We have the Wolvern, right, which is a unique creature to Zurn. One of the things that we've added as unique to our mythos, if you will, as we're combining and converging from a lot of others. We also are creating our own additions that are unique to us. And the result is, if people want to play with something, we have that ability for them. So if you like this system as a race system, we want to encourage you to back us. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube and on Pinterest. Be supporting the work that we're doing here because we would love to bring you more content. We'll see you next time.